Everyone, and welcome to another episode of the VHS Tapes podcast. Today is talking about Elm Street 5, The Dream Child.
Oh yes.
Uh,
So this is of course the fifth movie,
mhm.
and it's a doozy. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, straight away, I'm gonna say it had some interesting bits, but yeah, this one is slightly darker, and it's not as much silliness going on, which I kind of miss, but I kind of also can appreciate
Mm-hmm.
that. It'd be interesting to see how if this series had always been super dark,
Yeah.
and but I still like what we got. But yeah, uh,
If the series was always super dark, it would just be like the remake of the first movie.
well, I haven't seen that. I was thinking more or less what I've heard of the new Nightmare one, where it was an actual
Oh
demon
yeah.
thing, takes on the role of Freddy. But we haven't gotten to that yet, so I'm not gonna. That's just what I've heard. Uh, so
The movie starts off with two people engaging in an act that, if we describe it, will get us demonetized probably.
we aren't getting monetized, so go for it.
Oh yeah,
Tell
they're
me
fucking
every detail.
they're going to town, and
Yeah,
so then first things first. It actually happens for like a pretty long time because it's happening over the credits that are
yeah.
coming in.
It's like a minute or two.
Yeah, which is yeah. So
Um,
you just sit there for a second and watch it for a minute.
I will say it's his cinematography was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's from what I'm putting together now. This is supposed to be Alice from the previous movie. She's dreaming,
Yeah.
and it's the guy in the dream would have been Dan, who is her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
If I forget, I don't, did wait. Let me look on the wiki, see if I get this right. I forget if he died in the last one or no. He's alive in this one. Never mind. So yeah, she's dreaming of that. She then goes to the shower, and some poo water or something just splurts up from the drain. And I wrote that as a joke, but immediately after I wrote that, you just literally hear a fart come out of the drain, and then the shower water pressure goes nuts and just fills up the entire shower. She manages to break herself out, but she ends up in a really rundown insane asylum. Uh, and there's just a bunch of crazy guys stumbling around. So I'm like, oh, this is just gonna go into what they were talking about from last movie. I think
The
that
innate thing was Dream Warriors, right? Because
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's right, yeah, where they mentioned that. Uh,
I gotta
yeah,
give
is it?
kudos is that they kept the actress for this one for Alice because Dream
Uh,
Warriors she's someone else. I literally thought they were gonna keep changing the actress when when I started watching the movies for the first time.
wait, is it? This is the same one from the third
For,
movie? I don't.
no, not from the third one. She
No,
starts from
because there was someone in the third movie that made it into the fourth.
yeah.
I forget
It's
this.
the character Alice, if I remember right. But
Hang on, I'm googling this. I'm trying to.
it's been a while. Let's see. Uh,
Okay, no, she originally appeared in the fourth one. So
Yeah.
she, yeah, so it was a different character that went from the third to the fourth and passed. She passed her abilities to Alice, and then Alice was the sole survivor, or well, one of the few survivors of the fourth movie. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I get
but
my
yeah,
generic intro characters mixed up.
yeah, I believe it was actually the third movie where, yeah, it was originally where they introduced Amanda Kruger, and they introduced the whole thing of like, she's raped in an insane asylum, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why Freddy like exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's dreaming of that bit where like, so once she walks into the crowd, she suddenly finds herself dressed as a nun with the name tag Amanda Kruger. All the lunatics surround her, and she then just wakes up. Her boyfriend momentarily turns into one of the lunatics before disappearing entirely. She then just goes back to the shower, sees that it's not having insane water pressure, and just like, okay, and just goes about taking a shower. I'm like, I don't know how you'd shake that off, especially
Yeah.
especially being a character who's been through this shit before. I don't get that.
No idea.
I'd be like, nope, I ain't taking a shower. I'm just gonna like, nope.
Yeah. That
Uh,
honestly, it's the logic of some horror characters. You know, they're like, oh, this
yeah.
thing that was a total threat in the dream, it's totally not gonna be a threat now.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, she relives Amanda Kruger's thing. I thought it was really funny when they zoom up on the name tag and the suspenseful music starts playing. Like you get why, but like it's just like the
Yeah,
name tag is ominous.
yeah. I'm gonna let you try to tell everyone what the hell happened in the graduation ceremony scene following this, because I didn't realize my hearing volume was turned way down. So I'm like, why is this movie so fucking quiet? I can't hear anything. Also, there's no subtitles either for whatever reason. So
So
I'm like,
we get, uh, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try, but I don't remember most of the characters' names. There's, they get introduced, and then I think one of them is named shit. Okay. So they have what happens is we get an introduction to the characters. So we have Dan Johnson, uh, Greta Gibson, the model. Greta's whole thing is her mother wants her to become a model and is giving her a strict life. uh, Mark Gray. He's kind of the weird nerd character. He uh, he draws comic books. Uh, Either way, they're all messing. They all meet up and they have an incomprehensible dialogue because the audio was going bad too. So I can't really tell what they were saying, but they're probably having some weird 90s 80s dialogue. I think one of them said radical at some point. I wouldn't be surprised.
it's pretty
Uh,
radical.
Pretty radical. And then
Oh wait,
Dan.
sorry, I gotta do it. I gotta do the proper voice. Yo, that's pretty radical, man.
Yeah, bro, gnarly. Um, I honestly, for some reason, I had audio problems with the intro as well. I wonder if
Oh,
that's.
mm, yeah, I
It
thought that
didn't
was
have
just me.
subtitles. It needed subtitles. I think that's my number one takeaway. Is some parts they were
Yeah.
loud, but there was no audios to like. I don't know. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we get an intro of them, and then we have Alice and Dan, and they're talking and talking about like their future and their lives, and then Dan's dad and uh, a football recruiter or whatever the fuck, I forget what he does. Is he track or football? I forget.
I
Either
well, I don't know.
either way, he's like, son, come with us. We need you to talk about your future. And then he tries to be like, I'm trying to talk to my girlfriend, but then he's like, no, we gotta talk about your future. And then he's like, "Oh, gotta go," and so they take him away, whisk him away, and then Alice goes to her friends. They have a dialogue that I did mostly hear.
Yeah, I saw that sequence. Then I fixed my audio, and then she ends up in a park somewhere, and you hear some kids reciting the Freddy rhyme,
Mm-hmm.
which yeah, and then they lead her to a hospital, and she follows who I initially thought was supposed to be Amanda, but it's just like a nun or a nurse that is dressed very similar to a nun. I don't really know. I don't know why a nun would be working in an insane asylum, or rather, a lot of them. But
Yeah.
whatever. Um, she does see a woman being pulled in on a stretcher to get birth, and when she does, they remark to her that like, "Oh, this baby's one of God's creatures," and like the woman who it's Amanda takes a look at it and like, this is fuck no. She just causes the nurse to drop the baby, which appears to be a tiny Freddy. He crawls through, and Alice follows him back to the church from Elm Street 4. Crawls over to where the clothes were, where he like died in the last movie, and then just like reforms and just proclaims, "It's a boy." This is a very interesting, the wildest gender reveal of all time.
It's
And then
I couldn't help but laugh at the baby Freddy thing. Yeah,
I'm
because it's not
surprised.
like
I'm
what?
surprised it wasn't like he didn't go around the corner and just immediately be dressed in like baby-sized Freddy clothes with like complete with a little, you know, uh, a glove with like plastic knives on it. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
Amanda appears and is like, "You're going down, kid," and he's just like, "We'll see, bitch." Which I swear I think that was the only pitch in the movie.
No wait, he says it too later. He says
Uh,
it at a really strange time.
oh, I think it was like at the end or something when
Yeah.
they're having their reverse fusion dance.
Hmm. Like they're at the. I think Amanda Kruger's talking to him, and he says it, and it's a strange time, and it was. The thing this movie is serious, but it's like unintentionally funny at parts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's see. Let's gruesome deformed baby. Amanda tries to collect the baby before it escapes, but it sneaks out from the operating room. Baby finds Freddy's remains and
Yeah, we're past that.
so Alice tells her friends about Freddy, and of course, no one believes.
Mm-hmm.
No one
Also,
ever believes.
she's pregnant.
And also, she is pregnant. Uh,
Yeah,
but
it's we went past the part where Dan is haunted by Freddy like while he's driving somewhere.
oh
He
yeah,
makes him drive his truck right into the school pool room. He then gets out, comes back outside, can't get in his truck, so he gets on a bike that mysteriously was just there. And then he's like mummified or something on the way, and then driven directly into a truck.
yeah. It's like the wires stick into his skin and like rip it off and stuff. The effects are for the deaths are pretty gruesome.
Yeah, I was actually originally this was going to be a VR chat episode like we've been doing, but at the time this was happening, I quickly booted the game up because I originally had a Freddy Krueger avatar, public one that I was going to use, and it recently got privated. I don't know if it was person's working on it and just doesn't want anyone touching it until they fix it or what. But I went to find a replacement, and none of them have I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a Visemes or something like that. It's what relates to your mouth animations when you're speaking, and none of them have that. So it's like if, it, if the mouth doesn't move, then it's pointless. So I was like, man, we'll just do a regular one. Like screw it.
Yeah.
But yes, in the time that it took me to do this, which was like maybe a minute, like I see him like get on the bike. I get into the game. I quickly look up a few things. I close the game off and look back, and he's just like mummified on the bike. I'm like, what the fuck happened? It's been like a minute.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah.
he gets all fucked up by the innards of the motorcycle, and then they shock him and shit, and like it's
Mhm.
pretty graphic. If you get the time, that there's probably a death compilation on YouTube or something.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
People love that kind of stuff.
I hope there is because I wanna, once we get through, um, this won't be until season 4. There's Elm Street 6. There's New Nightmare, and then there's Freddy versus Jason. So we have
Yeah.
three more movies to go through. Although those are all like, I think those are all technically separate universes. Because like 6 is like the finale of the mainline movies. New Nightmare is like an alternate reality where like I said earlier, some demonic force like embodies Freddy Krueger and fights the actors. And
Yes.
then Freddy versus Jason is just like a separate thing. Uh,
I'm look
but
I'm
yeah,
looking forward to that one. I've seen some clips and it looks it looks fun.
yeah. But I also want like a bonus episode where we like rate like all of the deaths and maybe also the one-liners while we're at it.
Okay, yeah, we would
So
definitely
like
need a compilation video for that. Like
yeah,
to
because I'd
find it.
prefer like I like these movies, but I prefer to not rewatch all of them just to like take notes on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that'd be a lot pretty time consuming. If I can watch like
Yeah.
two, if I can watch like one hour video on YouTube, that would be much better.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yes,
If we find one, we could probably
yeah,
kind of end the podcast
I'm sure
about
there
it.
is. Because hopefully they don't mix in like apparently there was a TV show at one point. I hope they don't mix that in because like I don't want that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, back to what you're saying. Like the friends don't believe her. Um, one of them, Greta, is like, supernatural or not, he'll have to go through us first. So, well, he literally
He
goes through
does?
her first.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she's at like a dinner party, falls asleep, and in the dream, she's arguing with her mom, like, because she's supposed to be on a diet, and her mom in the dream is insisting, like, eat something. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, my friend just died. You want me to just fucking pig out? So Freddy shows up and just force feeds her an entire plate of food until she just
Mm-hmm.
chokes to death.
Forces her into a high chair.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then starts babying her as she dies. It's pretty graphic.
yeah,
He's yeah, they like her like the food's coming like out of her like in her mouth, but like you could see it's like protruding like her jaw and shit and her cheek. So like her like I
yeah,
don't know how to properly explain it, but it's like puffed out but to like an inhuman extent.
yeah. All right, so yeah,
So I
then
guess it's like in the dreams you feel it, so it's just like imagine that feeling. That would be pretty
yeah.
horrifying.
Without even having a funeral scene, we just skip right to the remaining 3 kids meeting up, and
Hmm.
it's Mark is sad because Greta was like his crush or his girlfriend or something. We see while I think it's just Mark and Alice talking after a little bit. See a bunch of his drawings of like this. Batman slash cowboy mashup character, or maybe it might be more Zorro inspired or something because it's just got like that bandana across the top of the head
Mm-hmm.
with eye holes. Um, so I'm like, okay, they're gonna do something with this somewhere. He falls asleep and gets sucked into a drawing of the Elm Street house, and Alice just like draws a stick figure with the
Yeah.
word Alice pointing to it so she can manifest into the dream.
And she thinks really hard and appears in.
Yeah. um, just barely saves Mark from getting vored by the house,
Mm-hmm.
and he notices his wrists are bleeding after and just falls back anyway and just disappears for a bit.
Oh yeah, there's like one scene where we learn that he's squeamish. Which is before Dan, uh, you know, gets hit by that truck. He they're in the pool party, and some background character gets their hand like cut by a bottle or something, and he nearly faints.
I must miss that.
Yeah, I
Um,
totally forgot about it until you mentioned him fainting from the blood.
Another thing I missed here is back, I guess somewhere when she got the ultrasound or whatever and found out she was having a baby. There was a scene where she meets this kid and everyone's like, "There is no kid on this floor." It's this character named Jacob, young like a young boy dressed in rags, and he insinuates that Alice is his mother, and that he's just like the spirit of her unborn kid, essentially. Which
Mm,
kind of all right.
very interesting,
Uh,
but it's like the concept is interesting, but the way they do it is very strange.
yeah, he goes to get another ultrasound and gets her soul sucked into the ultrasound monitor to like see, really see the baby, and she sees that Freddy's in there like feeding the baby his victims so he'll turn out like him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of in a way ripping off Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, just trying to like resurrect himself in the form of a baby.
Never works out.
Yeah.
We've tried.
Yeah, let's see here.
So so she has the ultrasound and witnesses the soul sucking, and she starts having a meltdown about it when she wakes up, and the doctor doing the ultrasound is like, okay, and then once they leave, calls up Dan's parents
Mm-hmm.
because
Which it seems strange. Like, I feel like that would be a breach of doctor-patient confidentiality, but like they need to like have like something else happen later on.
yeah, unless they put her on like emergency, unless they were put on like as emergency contacts. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe.
But even then, it's like the doctor just straight up breached it. That
Mm-hmm.
doctor's gonna get fired.
Yeah. So then, yeah, she meets up with Yvonne and Mark, and Yvonne's still like, "Yeah, this is all bullshit," despite Mark showing up with like 8 folders of Freddy evidence. She doesn't even
Hmm.
like attempt to look at it. She just like fucks off.
Yeah, she knocks the Frevidence out of his hands.
Yeah.
I had to say Frevidence. I needed to. I saw it. I took it.
Mm.
So
Uh,
basically, she's the only one in denial in the group. I mean, out of the three, because that's not hardly a group at this point.
yeah. this is where Dan's parents show up, and they're like, "Well, we understand this is probably hard for you. We're happy to adopt the baby." And she's like, "No, thanks.
No.
I'm good." And then they're like, "We're not exactly asking you. We heard you're insane,
Yeah.
so like we'll be taking that kid as soon as it pops out." And she still
Yeah.
says no, and just they leave.
Well, she gets her dad. I forget the dad's name. Whatever, kicks
Yeah,
them out. He gets angry because in the previous movie he was a deadbeat father, but in this one he's a caring father because he goes to AA and shit or something.
he,
I wonder if it's the same actor. I
he,
didn't know. I didn't pay attention. But yeah,
yeah.
so they
So
get kicked out.
yeah, Mark and Alice, they're trying to find out like where is Amanda's true resting place. So if they can find her, they can release her. She can supposedly put an end to Freddy. I highly doubt this, as there's technically three more movies. Then Yvonne falls asleep in a hot tub and ends up in some rusty water tank. And Alice, like, she also like went to sleep to try to like find Amanda and like ask her like, "Where's your body at?" And Freddy just like this was like the only like really comical thing in this one, besides like Baby Freddy, is he like pops up out of the water and just like sprays some water out of his mouth, like he's been swimming or whatever. And I don't know. The two girls then end up in a room somewhere else. Uh, Mark gets stuck in to his comic book, and it's like the warehouse that he's like works at or whatever, but it's like all black and white, and it's weird. Some shots of this look like they like traced around him to get the color or whatever, but in other spots, like you can see random objects have colors, so it's like they painted everything like different shades of gray and white and black to like simulate that. And I assume they just had Robert just like dump a couple bags of flour on himself or something. But oh yes, the other funny thing is Freddy chases him through the warehouse on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Like, there's a missed opportunity for him to say radical here.
Truly, honestly.
Uh,
Uh, so, are we going to continue speaking about the dream he's having?
yeah, go keep going.
So, uh, what's the guy's name?
This is Mark,
Mark. Mark gets
the
fed up.
nerd.
Mark gets fed up and becomes Night Prowler or whatever the fuck his character's name was, and becomes all cartoonish, and pulls out these two guns and starts unloading on Freddy. Freddy topples over, full of bullets. Then Mark goes up a little closer. Then Freddy bursts up as Super Freddy. He's like chiseled, got a chiseled appearance. Like he's still burnt, but he's like muscular and like
Yeah, I think
and
he's got a cape too.
he's got a cape. And then he just tears Mark apart because Mark turns into like a paper mache like person, and then he just tears him into pieces.
Yeah, if only he managed to turn himself into a rock.
Mm-hmm. Could have avoided the whole situation.
Yeah, so at this point, Freddy realizes it's time for the final act of the movie to begin, so he just lets the girls go for now.
Mm-hmm. He's
So
got
just,
some prep to do.
yeah, had to go back to makeup to get, recolored.
I'm not ready for my close up.
Bitch.
And perfect.
So Alice sends Yvonne to the asylum to try to find, like, Amanda's remains and then goes to sleep to try to draw Freddy out. Uh, there's not much. It doesn't take long for Yvonne to find like where she is because it's like this one random brick wall, clearly in the shape of like a door frame, and it's very brittle. So she just breaks it down and like finds the body.
And then it turns around and becomes a ghost, and then I didn't hear what she said. It sounded like Alice.
She just said thank you and then disappeared
Oh,
into the dream, I guess.
or some shit. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the dream, I forget early on, there was this thing. I thought it was like I couldn't tell if it was a baby carriage or like a wheelchair. But at the beginning, like the first time she like dreams of the asylum, she sees it go by and she grabs it and catches Freddy off guard by driving it into him, and then tosses him into like the pit with all the other crazy people, and they just rip him apart.
Mm-hmm.
Because looks like Kruger's back on the menu, boys.
I
But
think one of those the thing is just like a broken down one of those gurneys that you hold upright. I forget what you call them, but did you know the things that Hannibal Lecter was in, where they like gurneyed him
mm,
around?
maybe, but to me, it just looked like a really oversized demonic baby stroller. Like it's
We can
all
say
like
it is.
jagged and stuff. Yeah. Um, he splits up into a bunch of spiders that are like I couldn't tell because it was so brief. They're either colored to match his shirt and pants, or they're wearing tiny jackets and pants. And then he reforms, but like he's horribly misshapen. Like his arm's like twisted at the elbow, and his other arm is like he's got like a hunchback, and he's all messed up. And then Alice literally like realizes he's living inside her, so she like rips him out of her.
Yeah, I didn't understand. She was like, yeah, she
The logic made no sense.
because it was like she was talking to him and was talking about taking him on or something, and then like tries ripping him out, or he gets ripped. I was trying to understand that bit because I was like, who's ripping who?
The idea is like because of him trying to take over Jacob, he's literally leeching on her, or whatever, living inside of her. So she's like forces him out,
Yeah,
and then Amanda
yeah.
shows up, and instead of like fighting or anything like I thought she was gonna do, she's like, Jacob, you like just unleash the power that he's given you. So he gets like all scarred up like Freddy, and like the way the cameras move, I'm like, this is a Mortal Kombat map right here, which is probably why they put him in Mortal Kombat. Yeah, he unleashes his power and like I think he dissipated or something, or bonded with Freddy for a bit, and then Freddy was like having shit like I don't know souls pop out of him or something, and then Amanda ripped baby Freddy out, which then turned back into like baby Jacob. He was absorbed back to Alice, and then Amanda basically reabsorbed Freddy, or the essence of him, back into her before he just burst out of her anyway.
It's just kind of funny how Amanda's purpose is just to tell the kid to do something.
Yeah,
This entire time, the build up, she's like, "Hey, kid, do this." And the kid's like, "Okay."
yeah. Like I was expecting, like I don't know, her to like summon the power of Jesus or something and just smite his ass.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, that didn't work before, so I don't know. But yeah, they didn't wait more than like 30 seconds before showing like, yeah, he ain't dead.
Yeah.
but he will be.
Coming next.
So, yeah, coming next season, we will talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Dead. But there's 2 movies after that, so kind of doubt that.
So
I'm
it's
gonna
more
call
like
it the end.
Freddy's dead? Question mark.
Yeah, I feel like the end of that movie is just gonna like still leave it up in the air.
If I remember right, it does.
It's a shame they won't be making another unless they recast Freddy, because
Yeah.
the I don't know if we said in the last one, but yeah, Robert Englund has said like, yeah, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
But
What career?
yeah, I think Van Camp or whoever it was, the original protagonist, was like, I want to do another one. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I don't know, get another person.
Right. You honestly could get like anyone because you just put the makeup on and have them
Yeah,
speak pretty gruff.
yeah, pretty much.
Not
I
that
would,
Robert Englund didn't own that role. I mean, man, what a great
yeah,
Freddy.
I would still love it if he would cameo in it and just like for some bit where he's like an old Freddy and he's just like hobbling around with a cane. Like that would be, a great little way for him to return and not have to like do all the stunt work. Because I think that's the main reason why he's not gonna do it. Because he's like, I can't be doing this shit. I'm like fucking I'm old as hell.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be funny if he appeared like outside of his makeup as like a doctor or something.
Oh yeah, there you go. That could work. But yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that
they
the death. Oh, sorry, what?
no, go ahead.
The deaths were pretty interesting because like with when Greta dies, Alice opens the fridge and there's that stop motion thing of the food rotting and there's eyeballs in the bowls and stuff.
Yeah, I missed that as
Oh
well.
yeah, there was a lot of nice little like stop motion kind of things and like practical effect, which
Hmm.
with a mixture of digital effects. So at this point, it was like kind of 50-50 with it. Or maybe even like more special effects and some practical effects.
Hmm. Yeah.
Either
However,
either way, death is enjoyable. What?
yeah. However, this was like my least favorite so far.
Oh yeah. It's the ending feels kind of rushed, to be honest. Uh
Yeah.
the acting in some parts is kind of bad. Uh
Yeah.
the main
And
actress tries.
unfortunately, it's not like enjoyable bad. It's just kind of. I don't think it's like terrible movie. It's just kind of like, meh. Is it was certainly a film.
It was a film, and you could say that it was interesting in points because it's like
Yeah.
it's at this point they didn't even need to have the series go on, and this is like
Hmm. They should. I think. I don't know how good or bad or enjoyable bad the Freddy's Dead will be, but I feel like they probably should have just done that here and
mhm.
been made a slightly longer movie and just been done with it.
The Freddy's Dead is a lot more fun, I would say actually. Like I remember more about Freddy's Dead than this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to say that there's at least a little bit of enjoyment in the next one, and this one was kind of like mid tier. Not horrible, not great.
Yeah, and I guess with that being said, I'll see you in your dreams.
Bitch.